Hey guys, Patriot with you for the 2015 EDC update video. That's the everyday carry kit that I would leave the house with every day, from the house to the car, from the car to work. Wherever else I might go, this EDC bag is usually going to be with me, and if it isn't with me, it'll be close by. So sometimes I don't need to walk around where I'm at work with it, but it's close enough by, and even if it's not in my desk, it might be in my car outside, so it's going to be close by. So you can see I'm already breaking down EDC into two pieces. One would be the carry bag that I take with me almost everywhere, and the other would be the pieces of gear that I have on me at any given time, and that will vary according to temperature and time of year, season, clothing. If I've got a 511 tack light pant or a cargo short, that's going to be a little bit different than a set of jeans, right? So all of these things, I'll vary what I'm carrying on my person. But with the EDC bag, that's real consistent. That's going to be pretty much the same most of the time. So if I go to an event or an air show or something like that, I'll have this EDC bag with me. Let's go ahead and start with the bag. Here's what it looks like. It's basically a small fanny pack, although I don't use it like a fanny pack. You could, and I probably would if I didn't care, but generally I'll just throw this over my shoulder if I go through the car wash or something like that, and just take it with me like that. Other times, if I'm carrying water or something, I'll just have it inside of a loose bag of some type, something generic looking. And this will be in there with a couple bottles of water, especially the case in the summertime, where I'll normally freeze a bottle and have a bottle ready to drink. Different ways of carrying this. You remember that the one that I had before kind of looked like a small backpack. It was made by a Field Line. It was a Field Line Pro Series, and it looked like a miniature backpack basically, because the straps on the back that you would use to put on your belt kind of look like mini shoulder straps. But the carrying options weren't very versatile with that, so I've got something that's a little bit more versatile. I could clip this around my waist if I wanted to. It's easy to throw over a shoulder, and with the belt on here I can attach a couple other things like a water bottle and a holder if I wanted to. The other issue with the small Field Line, it did have a slightly smaller overall cubic volume to it, so I did need a little bit more space. And what that space allows me to do is get in and out of the kit a little bit easier. If I had to go into the other one to grab something out, sometimes I had to take more out than I wanted to, and I couldn't see everything right away. So the way that this zips open at the top allows me full access to kind of everything in there. Let's go ahead and start off by weighing this. It looks like 2.75. I figured it was under 3 pounds. I guess I've never really weighed it before. But let's go ahead and open this up and show you what I carry inside. Alright, the kit might be a little bit squirrely because I haven't really set it up for the video. I just grabbed it off of, well, I just walked in the house with it basically. It's my day off today. So there's a little mesh pocket up front here. And, oh yeah, I've got a couple of Ranger bands in there. Just extras. They're quick for tying stuff together, and a strap for my sunglasses. If I don't carry this with me, I almost will always need the little strap to hang my glasses around my neck. Usually when I'm out doing something outdooring and I'm taking them on and off a lot. So I like to have that with me. Let's go ahead and open up the front zipper pocket, and you can see how everything kind of files in there. And if I do stuff that, it will kind of protrude into the main compartment behind it. But I do have a set of earplugs right there, and a small chapstick. This one's a little skinnier than the chapstick. It's an Aquafina. Fits in that pocket a little bit better. And I'm just going to reach in here and grab all the contents out that I can grab there. I've got a space blanket. On the back side I have an emergency poncho. And I've got a couple of wet wipes, some simple band-aids, some triple antibiotic. I do have a single hand warmer. I'd like to put 2 in there, but it does get kind of tight in that pocket. Hey, one's better than nothing. And I've got some potable aqua here. Each one of those will treat a liter, so I've got about a gallon worth of water treatment here. A Bic mini lighter, and a small SD card. If I don't carry that with me, I'd be sure to forget it. forget one or run out of memory and not have anything extra. It's only 2 gigs, but I find that if I have this in here, I never need it. If I don't have it in here, I'll need it all the time. Okay, that's everything in there. I guess I can leave that stuff out. Let's turn and go to the back compartment here. Oh, by the way, you can see that I do have a piece of shock cord going around here, and when I tie that off, it kind of compresses everything. So without this on here, it does balloon out. It does have quite a bit of space, which is nice because if you have to expand it or stuff some stuff in there, it does give you a little extra room. But I like to keep everything tight together, and I find that just that single shock cord does that, and if I have to open it, I just bring it around to the side. So let's go to this back pocket here. This outdoor products bag, by the way, picked up at Walmart. I believe it's under $10, and they come in different colors. So in here I've got some paracord, and I've got a whistle. I typically carry one of those on my car keys. Great for getting someone's attention or a group of people in a real hurry if you have to. There's a cuff key on there. There's an ITP Meritac AAA battery, Sharpie, and this is a UST Survival knife blade and hacksaw, basically. Just small, lightweight, all on that. Got a spare battery for that ITP. It's a L92 lithium battery. And that's about all there is in that one. Let's go to the main pocket here. You can see this opens all the way down the sides, and so it really clamshells open if you need it to. I typically don't open it that wide, but you can see that it makes it easy to reach in and see what you're trying to get, or look in and see what you're trying to get. What I've got right on the top is a 7-power loop, and this thing's super handy. This is great if I have to see something real up super close, like a splinter. And I can even use this in conjunction with my telephone, which I do a lot. You can see I'm pretty good at lining that thing up, and this will give me a real close-up view of whatever I need to see. Okay, also in this, this is a Sea to Summit head net, just a thin black head net. Another thing that I seem to use all the time. It never fails. I get out to my favorite shooting spot and the bugs are a little bit crazy, and this thing saves the day. So having this with me is always great. And I just keep the loop inside of there because it keeps it free of dust and kind of protects it. Some bank line. I've got about 60 feet here of number 12 bank line. And I find that it's a little bit more useful for most things over paracord. So, got no problem with paracord. I just find that for EDC type of situations that this comes in handier because it's a lot thinner and I can carry more of it. So, I've got 60 feet measured out there. You can see I've got some Repel, some Sting Ease. This is some 24 SPF sunblock, and I have some hand sanitizer. So I also carry some hand sanitizer in the glove box in the vehicle, but it's nice to have everything with you if you need it and you're away from the vehicle. And I kind of like these. It's a nice way of carrying it, and everything kind of lays at the bottom of the fanny pack. A telescoping magnet in here with a strong booster magnet kind of at the front, just gives it a lot of pull. Just super handy. Gosh, I've had to fish keys out of a drainage before. Someone dropped their keys down one of those grates at one of the places that I used to work at. So we used this and this basically to get his keys out, but it worked. That's an old story of mine. I've told it before. Okay, I've got some super glue in here. I guess that kind of a short tube goes with the tubes. And I like that because it's not going to get crushed, and it's got the cap on there. It's typically not going to leak beyond that cap. I have a center punch, an automatic center punch. Put pressure on this and click and it works. I've actually used this to re-stake a gas key on an AR-15 bolt before, and it worked fantastically. Got the guy's rifle up and running again, and he's never had a problem with it since. We had to stake it several times, but it did work. Of course, it's going to go through a pane of glass or a car window very easily, side window. I've got a piece of PVC on there so that it doesn't poke through the bag. And speaking of that, I've got a little scribe here. This will write on glass, it'll write on metals, whatever you need it to. It does have a small magnet in the back there, not nearly as powerful as that one. Next thing in there is a diamond sharpener. I think these are $6 or $7. I picked this one up at Sportsman's Warehouse. I've had it a long time. You can see it gets some wear rolling around in there. Okay, the next thing I've got in here is the MyCharge. You guys saw this in my Humphrey's Peak video. This is a 6,000 milliamp hour USB charger. It has a small LED light built into it. Actually works pretty good. Power level indicator right there. And I can't remember the price, but you guys can look it up. It's the 6,000 milliamp hour MyCharge. I kind of like this one. It gives a more capacity than the tube-shaped ones that typically don't exceed about 32 or 3,400 milliamp hours right now. So this gives me a lot of power. It'll charge my phone just over 1.5 times. By the way, the phone is a 6 Plus, and it has about a 2,900 milliamp hour battery in it. But it's always nice to be able to supplement it with something like this. And I do have the cords in here, the same 2 cords, a micro USB and a short lightning cable, just kind of Velcro together. I do have some shears handy. Most of the Leatherman tools and stuff don't have a very capable scissor. It's just very minimal. This gives you a somewhat capable scissor. I have a small roll of duct tape in here. This one I've actually been stealing from, so it's getting a little bit thin. It's time to renew that and put a fatter roll in there. I keep it in there so it doesn't stick to everything. It's just a small Ziploc bag. Okay, you might remember that I carry a Super Tool 300, and that's been in my EDC for a long time. The reason that I went to this is because before I had a juice, I forget which one, but I had battery terminals, a negative terminal on a battery before, and I couldn't get it off with the juice. It just didn't have enough grip or span to get the nut off. And that's when I started carrying a Super Tool. And I like this a lot, but it is heavy and it is bulky. It's 9.6 or 9.8, something in that territory. It's pretty stout. So I switched that out, and I started using the rebar. The rebar is basically the smaller or mini version of the Super Tool 300. It has almost all the same tools on it, but at about a 6.7 ounce weight versus 9.6. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but the 3 ounces kind of adds up. When you think something like this is about 5 ounces, it does make a difference, and it does feel like the bag carries a little bit lighter with the rebar in it. So it's become one of my favorite tools because of its size, and it still has a lot of capability, and it still has replaceable cutters. So I do like the rebar a lot, and it seems to have enough span and grip and power for the things that I've needed it for. Alright, so we're down to the inner mesh zipper pocket here, and looks like there's a hair tie in there. A small survival mirror. That's the mini UST survival mirror, and I've got some Ranger bands just to protect it, along with some plastic over it. And just a small medicine kit. So in here I've got some Pepto-Bismol, a roll of Tums, and some Advil, and some Benadryl, and some Imodium AD, and some sore throat lozenges. It looks like I've got a few Q-tips in there to keep those dry. Sometimes you just need that stuff. And the last thing in this little pocket, there's a small key holder here, and on that I have a small set of tweezers. I think those are Uncle Bill's mini gripper, or whatever they're called. I forgot the name. Uncle Bill's silver gripper, some nail clippers, and I've got some safety pins. 3 larger, 3 medium, 3 small, and those just hang out in there. But that's the whole kit. Nothing else in there. Let's talk about a container briefly. Like I said, most of the time when I leave the house, I'm taking a bottle of water with me. In the summertime too. And I've got a bag, and I kind of throw everything together, and it just kind of looks like you're walking in with a lunch bag. There's nothing special in there, but I've got this little EDC bag within that. If I need to attach something to this, I can always do the belt loop with a bottle holder. But if I want to carry an empty container with me, I think these little vapor containers are pretty hard to beat. These unfold, hold about 23 ounces, filled up, and I typically use these for supplements for Gatorade and stuff like that, electrolytes, when I'm carrying my Camelback, but I don't want to fill 100 ounces full of Gatorade, so I just need a little shot, some electrolytes to get me going. This is kind of handy. But this will clip right to the strap on the fanny pack here. Folded up as well, so it'll kind of tuck in just like this with this D-ring around this piece. So it's lightweight. If you want to carry a container with you for emergencies, even though it's empty, but something that you could disinfect water in, I like these little foldable setups. Alright guys, so we've covered what was in the EDC bag that I carried. Let's talk about what I might carry on my person. So we talked about clothing a little bit, and climate, and the other thing would be threat level. So I live in a relatively low threat level here, but when I went down into the Phoenix area, it's a little bit higher, so I might carry slightly different kit. Let me show you what I had on me today when I left the house. So the first piece here is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380 in an Uncle Mike's soft sleeve. It's got the built-in laser, manual safety, spare 6-round magazine. Got a tactical light. This is 18650. It's a UC35 rechargeable. Had that for quite a while now. Had my little SOG Twitch 2 on me. And the medium size, well, you could, I guess, call it a large pepper spray. This has got about an 8-foot cone that comes out of this one. Sometimes I'll carry the smaller version of it, and I'll just carry that right in my pocket with the nozzle down. That way when I take it out, I'm ready to go. But I carried a little bit larger one because of the area that I was in and wanted a little bit more standoff distance. In an area where the threat level is a little bit higher, I'd probably carry a Glock 26, or in this case I have a Glock 19 in a Blade Tech right here in an inside the waistband. And I might carry that along with a Voyager X2. You guys always like it when I pull this one out. I've had this one out. I owned this one for a long time, so you've seen it in almost every EDC video. Didn't carry this with me today, but if I have to scale things up a little bit, I might do that and do a large pepper spray and the light. So I've got the things I need on me. Every now and then I might do the CRKT Obaki. This is the one that I also hang on my Camelback when I'm out hiking. Just easy to take on and off. But you can see that between the combination of the bag that I have with me, if I need one of those things, a charger, a loop, a Leatherman, super glue, Band-Aid, chapstick, I've got that stuff with me. So it might be neat to go into a restaurant and pass a gear check with a famous YouTuber, but does it really matter that your bag is in the car if you've got the most important things you need with you? The stuff that protects your life? These are going to be the immediate things. A tactical light, a firearm, a sharp instrument, an extra mag perhaps, or a less than lethal option, whether that be a baton or pepper spray. You'll have to decide what works best for you and what you're the most comfortable with using. When you think of EDC, you'll have to prioritize, decide what's the most critical that you have on you. Some people might think it's fire or a light. I usually carry light, fire, and a sharp instrument on top of a firearm, but lately I haven't been carrying a lighter around like I used to. I used to carry a small windmill jet lighter, and then I started carrying mini Bics, but I found that if I just had that mini Bic in my EDC bag, I didn't necessarily need it on my person because it was typically close enough that if I needed it, I could go and use that. That's not really a lifesaver. If I get out of my vehicle and I have to wander, I'm going to grab my whole kit plus what's on me. But these other things for my immediate protection or the protection of loved ones, I have that stuff with me. If the lights go out, I've got a tack light. If there's some kind of a maniac active shooter, I've got my firearm with me. And I've also got a less than lethal weapon for some idiot drunk in a mall parking lot or something. That's the 2015 EDC update video, and I hope it was helpful. Maybe it'll give you guys some ideas, and feel free to comment all you want. Thanks guys. Patriot out.